Hey, welcome back everybody. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to actually start an HTML document, how to code it, how to save it, and then how to put it into a browser to test it. That's going to be one of our big things moving forward, is that we're going to be coding and then we're going to be testing. Okay, so the first thing that we have up here you can see is I have a program called Brackets. Okay, Brackets is a free program for Mac that allows us to code HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and a whole bunch of other languages. This is what's called a plain text editor. Okay, plain text is non-formatted text. That means I have not formatted this text. It's blue because the program recognizes this as an HTML document, but I did not arbitrarily just format it. Okay, so again, if you're using Windows, your best bet is to download and install Notepad++. It's a very easy and cheap program. Not cheap, it's free, sorry. But it's a free program that you can use. It's on par with Brackets. If you are using a Chromebook, there are several other programs on Chromebook that are free, okay, that you can download and install and then just start coding HTML. All right, so to get started, let's start talking about these tags, okay? The very first tag that you see up here is actually something called a Doctype, okay? And Doctype is important because we use it to tell the browser what version of HTML we're using. Now, there are different versions of HTML. There's HTML4, there's HTML 4.1, there's extensible hypertext markup language, which is XHTML. There's also HTML5. So there's all these different, HTML versions that we can work with. After that, we have HTML, we have a head and end head, we have body and end body, and we have end HTML right there. So think of this as basic structure for every single page that you're going to encounter, okay? We have an HTML tag that begins and ends our document. Then we have the head tag, and then we have the body tag, okay? Or the body section. So just remember, it's like a person, head and then body, okay? The head goes in the top, the body goes in the bottom. Now you are going to need both of these sections for your page to work, so you always need to put them in. Okay, so let's take a look at this, and we're going to talk about saving. Okay, we have a basic page set up right now. We're working on it now. The thing is that let's say that we want to save it and we want to test it. Okay, because that's basically how we're going to do things. We're going to do some coding, then we're going to save it, and we're going to test it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, Save As, and in this situation, I already have it saved, set up right there. You see, I'm going to save it to un-test.html. I'm saving it in my desktop. Now, where you save it is really important because you're going to have to find the file and then put it into a browser like Chrome or Firefox or Safari or whatever. You're literally going to have to drag and drop it into a browser. So you're going to need to know where you save your file to. Okay, so in this situation, I'm saving it to my desktop because it's the quickest thing to get to. So I'm going to click on desktop and I'm going to save it as un-test.html. Now you're probably saying, well, why are you using .html? Well, .html is the file extension that's needed to show the computer that it's an HTML file. Okay, so this will not work in a browser if you do not have the .html extension. So on every file that you save, you're going to have to save it with .html. The other thing is that you don't want to put a dot in the file name. So you never want to put in a dot like between un and test or anywhere else. The dot only goes between the file name and the file extension, and that's it. Okay, don't try anything else. Now in terms of dashes, I can put a dash there, that's okay. I can take out the dash and just leave it like that. One thing that I don't want to do is put in punctuation. I don't want to put in something like that. I don't want to put in that. I don't want to put any of those things in because it's going to mess up my page and it's going to mess up the browser. So you want to stick to alpha characters, numerals, and then either a dash or an underscore. That's the only thing you're allowed, okay? So in this situation, I'm just going to do un-test, okay? I'm saving it to my desktop so I know where to find it. After I save it, I'm going to test it, okay? So I click on Save. I'm going to replace it this time around because I've already worked on this. And now it's on my desktop. Now my job is to go and find it on my desktop so I can move it over. So what I'm going to do is I am going to find it over here, and I found it. You can see that I found it actually right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply just drop it into a Chrome browser, sorry. So you can see here I've got un-test.html. It shows up right here, and that's what I want. I want to see that because now I know I'm looking at this file. So this page and this file are the same thing, and I'm looking at both of them at the same time. Okay, that's really helpful because now what I can do is I can start putting in text. I can save it, and then I can test it. Okay, so I'm going to say this. Oops, I spelled this wrong. This is my first page. Okay, and let's test this. I go File and Save. Now it's open over here on my browser, so all I have to do at this point is refresh it. And you can see here, there's my text. This is my first page. It's right there. So that means that if I keep typing in here and I save it, File, Save, I go back to over here, you can see I got un-test, and notice that it's on the desktop too. It tells me the whole file path, and that's important. Okay, I refresh it, and you can see I can add to it. So I can keep adding things to this now. So that's how we're able to start a new document, save it, and then test it on a browser. And that's the process that we're going to use for most of this course. All right. Now, the next thing I want to show you is just a few tags to get started with. So you're going to tell me, you're going to say like, hey man, that looks really, really bland. Like that's not formatted at all. That looks ugly. Well, how do we get started formatting? Well, we can actually use some HTML tags to start formatting some of the text. Now, I'm going to go down below and I'm going to type in headline 1, H1, okay? H1 is a tag that will transform text from being like normal, paragraph text to very large and very bold. So at this point I typed in a tag, it's called H1, and brackets is nice. Brackets will automatically end my tag, so it automatically ended the H1 for me. So all I have to do right now is type in whatever text I want to be big and bold. So I'm going to type in big and bold. So what will happen is that this text in here will now become big and bold. Let's test it, okay? I go to File, Save, and then I refresh, and you can see it there, big and bold, okay? Over here we got H1, big and bold, /H1, and it's done. That means that any text that comes after this, this is not big and bold. Okay, this text over here will just be normal again. So I'm going to go to File, Save, refresh over here, and you can see that the text down below is not big and bold. Okay, so the other thing that I want to talk about real quickly are a few other tags to kind of play around with. One is called the paragraph tag. The paragraph tag is really important because it signifies, I didn't mean to put that, the paragraph tag signifies a paragraph, and it signifies the beginning and the end of the paragraph. So that means that anything I put in here, this is now a paragraph, okay, that text in there will be one paragraph, okay? I go to File, Save, and refresh, and you can see I got my text in there, and notice that it's separated from this other text over here. It's separated because it is considered a paragraph, okay? And I can keep doing this if I want. Okay, I can put in other paragraphs. This is another paragraph. Okay, and then this text will be considered a different paragraph. Notice that I'm using the P tag over and over again. I don't need to put P1 and P2. No. It's just P. You can keep using the same paragraph tag over and over and over again. It doesn't matter, okay? So I'm going to go to File, Save. I'm going to refresh it over here, and you can see I have another paragraph, okay? So what you guys are going to do is you're going to start using these tags, and you're going to start messing around with them and seeing what they do. I mean, the best way to work with this is to simply explore. Okay. And then later on, when we start learning cascading style sheets, we're going to be talking about why these tags are in here and what we can do with them in terms of formatting. Like, so we can change their color, we can change their font, their size, all that kind of stuff. So it's important to get used to putting content inside of these tags. All right, thanks, guys.